live. Welcome in, everybody, as people are filing in. This is pretty exciting. How are you guys? Are you guys excited, Ben, Ryan?
Oh yeah,
very excited. It's a fun topic. I love talking about Pylon. So
cool, yeah. And for the people joining, feel free to. I'm curious where everybody's calling in from. Who thinks they're the furthest away? Nice on. Nice to meet you, Stefan. Oh, Stefan, good to see you again. Courtney. Ooh, Winnipeg. That's cool. Oh, we got some Canadians. A lot of Canadians. That's exciting. There you go. I see Atlanta. Awesome. Yeah, Ryan, where are you right now? You're somewhere in the Bay, but like I don't want to ask you.
The East Bay, yeah, you're
Okay.
good. Just east of Oakland and Berkeley, so still very close to San Francisco, but different climate. Microclimates will do that.
Yeah. I went up to North Bay this weekend, and it was a beautiful day up there, and it's cold in SF. So yeah, definitely the microclimates are a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Stefan, you can't hear anything. Just making sure people can hear us right out in the audience. Probably. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there might be something wrong with the audio there, but regardless, I think we can probably get started. Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be chatting about why B2B teams are leaving Zendesk and kind of like the problems with the incumbent systems. We have two great guests today, Ben and Ryan, and would love to have them maybe introduce themselves real quick. So Ryan, do you mind kind of giving us your name, your position, the company you're at, and I guess maybe a fun fact or something like that.
You didn't prepare us with fun facts, so we're gonna have to see if you can.
Off the top of your head.
Hi everybody, my name is Ryan Seams. I head up all of our customer-facing teams at Assembly AI. We are a voice AI company helping developers build the future of voice with a fully featured platform that allows people to basically take audio like we're talking here and go ahead and build a fully functioning voice AI app. Our customers are other businesses. We're typically working with engineers, product managers, designers, and really excited to just talk about our overall support model and how Pylon fits into that. On the fun facts side of things, let's see, maybe a good one is I've been working with customers in Slack doing support for 5 years now, which probably seems crazy, but it's been quite a long time and really enjoying it.
Oh, sweet. Ben?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan and Robert. I'm Ben Odom. I'm Director of Customer Experience at Apple, and what that means in practice is, we're a platform as a service for regulated environments. A lot of companies in digital health space, fintech, they come to us for simplicity and taking care of their infrastructure and platform in a way that works for their dev teams. And the interesting thing is that our customers range from very small 2-person startups all the way to kind of scaled out enterprise teams. And so my team is in a very fun and interesting spot where we have diverse support inquiries that range from very simple, like how do I get this thing deployed, to like, hey, can we really dig in on app performance that really gets into that gray area and requires a lot of knowledge management. So we had been on Zendesk for 10 years and very happy to tell our story about how we got migrated over to Pylon, but it's a really fun place to be. We have a lot of deep relationships with customers and navigate this diverse workload of questions that come in every day. And our team, we're kind of like some misfit engineers. We contribute back to the code base. So we're really loving Pylon right now for all of its kind of rich features that are starting to really expand across this B2B space that help us manage the information as well as kind of lean into the feature support. So we're having a pretty great time with it. And I'm really pleased to be here today to tell the story of how we went from a 10-year relationship with Zendesk to moving on to kind of the future is now.
Cool.
Fun fact is for Thanksgiving, I'm taking my daughter skydiving. So skipping the turkey, heading up in the plane.
Dang, that's pretty cool. Cool. And then maybe for me, I'm Robert. I am one of the co-founders and chief product officer here at Pylon. I'll talk more about what Pylon is in the next slide, but really briefly, we're a support system for B2B companies. I've known Ben and Ryan for a while now. They're happy customers of ours, but always good to see them and chat about B2B support. And then fun fact about me, I am a city official in my hometown, and I run a lot of the traffic signals and crosswalks and stuff like that there. So cool, nice. So real quick, just diving in, just to expand on what I just mentioned. So Pylon, if people here don't know, we're an all-in-one support platform for B2B companies. So we serve a lot of the places that modern B2B companies are talking to each other. So that includes like Slack, as Ryan was mentioning, Microsoft Teams, Discord, as well as all of the older sources as well. So we have a chat widget, ticket forms, we have email support, you can submit things via API. We're currently building out a lot of other sources as well, like phone, texting, WhatsApp, Telegram. So really runs the gamut of like where a customer will talk to each other in a B2B context, in a team-to-team setting. We are very good at kind of like also like we have the same birthday as ChatGPT. So we kind of built all of our flows AI native right from the beginning. And yes, to answer Jason's question, we integrate with all of those places that a B2B company would store all their data or need integrations with. So Salesforce, HubSpot, Adio, Pipedrive on the CRM side, and then the ticketing side like Linear, Asana, Jira, etc. Like all of those kind of ticketing systems. So, and we can talk more about the actual integrations and everything, but it's pretty fully featured for what a company would need today. So to really dive into it and just like hear your two stories, would love to just dive in and ask like, so Ryan, like why did Assembly switch from Zendesk to Pylon? And maybe walk us through the whole story and start with like, what prompted even looking for a new platform? Like what was the pain that you had felt earlier days?
Yeah, sure. So to give some background, I joined Assembly January of last year. And in coming in to a new position, new company, you're always, wondering what systems are we using, how are they being used, et cetera. And so it was probably about April or May timeframe. I was just sitting down and doing some one-to-one sessions with our support engineers and having them kind of walk me through like, okay, like what's the life of a ticket? What's your actual day-to-day look like? How do you manage all of these incoming requests? And for us, we were talking to customers in email, we were talking to customers in chat, and we were also talking to customers in Slack. And so all three of those channels were being monitored by a small but mighty support engineering team of 5 that was doing basically like 24/5 customer support around the globe, and doing these like ride-alongs and asking the team, hey, like what does this look like? You started to see some challenges and patterns on those 3 different channels start to emerge, and particularly for us, Slack was a channel where a lot of our large and really important customers wanted a Slack channel. They wanted a way to like async communicate, feel like they were part of a team. There's a lot less stress in Slack, honestly. Like you just make mistakes, you chat back and forth. It's okay, right? It's very casual. And so a lot of our biggest customers were pulling us there. But the challenge for our support engineering team is in order to monitor that, they had to join hundreds of Slack channels. And even once you're in hundreds of Slack channels, once something goes into a thread, you have to then monitor any permutation number of threads, which could easily become thousands of threads to monitor. And so managing Slack through Zendesk was really not an option at the time. In addition, the team, when they were working through emails as well as live chats, had some feedback around just usability and the ability to make the experience integrated. Specifically, one of the challenges was that with chat, our team was not able to actually reply from their mobile devices in any way, shape, or form. Which maybe to some folks on this call, they have lots of people on their support team, but if you're the one person online and you're covering an 8-hour shift and you want to go have lunch, there's nothing more awkward than having to like bring your computer with you to lunch and like walk around your house just to make sure you don't miss, the ding from a live chat. And so, uh, between those things of just like having observability, being able to monitor all these channels and reply fast across all of them, we decided to go out and look at, what solutions could unify Slack, email, and live chat, and make the lives of our support engineers day to day easier. The other key thing we were looking at is this was about, I guess, a year and a half ago ish. And at that time, maybe there were a lot less people talking about agents. There are a lot more of them now. If you go to LinkedIn or X or anywhere else, right, you're going to see talk about agents in your feed. And for us, we were kind of seeing the future like, hey, not only how do we monitor these channels better, but how do we automate a lot of the maybe like repetitive or very simple issues that were coming in that were just like, hey, you can find this answer in our docs, you can find this answer on our website, et cetera. And so really we're starting to think about too, like which platform could not only unify those channels, but allow us to build agents on top of that as well.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. So it's really twofold here. It's kind of like talking to your customers in the places that they want to live out of, and this agent side of, hey, like AI is clearly the future of support, and it's like you want to invest in that space. I guess like when you realized these were the two big problems that you wanted to solve, I guess like how did you realize that, oh, like maybe there's a different platform out there, or that you need to look for, or maybe the existing platform that you're using isn't the right solution? Like what was that path for you?
I think for our team, we're very hands-on. We want to be curious. We want to try things. And so very immediately we had Zendesk. And so we actually went and we're like, hey, like what's Zendesk Slack feature that exists? And very quickly we realized, okay, well, this is like a Slack bot. It's not really like an integration the way that we want it to be. And so we were like, okay, well, this doesn't exist. Let's go like look outside this for tools that actually integrate directly in Slack and not only, have some integration, but like an integration that makes our lives easier, not just an integration. And I think that's one thing to always think about when you're in the support space is like lots of people can check the box. Hey, I have an integration. Like, what is that integration? How does it improve the day-to-day life of your support engineer? Like, you should go use it yourself and experience that for yourself. And for us specifically, that led us to basically look out from Zendesk and say, hey, like, what are some of the best tools out there that support Slack, live chat, and email, omni-channel from that perspective? And that led us to stumble upon Pylon and a few others as well. And eventually, we were able to get very hands-on with Pylon very quickly and start a POC. And for us, like, again, the best thing is to try it and experience it for ourselves. And I mean, the immediate feedback from our support engineering team was just great. Like, hey, my life is so much easier. I can actually go eat lunch in peace now. It's amazing that I could like just see all of these Slacks as well as my live chats and emails in one place. And those quality of life improvements may seem small, but they build up and add up over time and save your team a lot of time in the end.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. And then were there any other benefits that came out of evaluating Pylon or using Pylon that you hadn't actually noticed when you first, or that wasn't on your criteria maybe when you had first started looking for a new tool?
Yeah, I think one thing that you'd find using Pylon, I'm sure if there's other tools that you like are trying to consolidate all of this data into, is that eventually they kind of become like your customer hub. And so, in many ways, we bought Pylon to be a support tool and facilitate customer conversations. But what we ended up stumbling upon is that if you're actually able to send all of your customer data into Pylon and attach it to different accounts, right, you could actually start to understand not just like, hey, how is each issue happening, but like what's the trend across different issues and all the conversations that we're having with our customers, and how does that actually tell me like, oh, hey, this account's like red alert, this is their third issue in 3 weeks about having an outage, or hey, this account's really great, maybe they're ripe for an upsell or a customer story because they're sending great feedback and they've had good CSAT with our support team. And so you could start to see very quickly like, oh, if we take all these trends about an account and put them into Pylon, we can actually start to figure out like what's happening on the account level and see the forest through the trees, so to speak, looking beyond issues and being like strategic and intelligent with our accounts. And obviously, Pylon built features like account intelligence, and that really help with that. But even in the early days, we were sending in all sorts of data about our customers, like their usage going up and down on Looker, errors coming from Datadog, product feedback from like customer calls we were having. And we built all these integrations ourselves and built agents to like pipe the data into Pylon and then sort it out later. And over time, it's just become really automated and even more awesome in Pylon itself. It's definitely not an immediate benefit that you see, but as you start to get all this customer information in one place and use AI on top of it, you find all sorts of insights that are just wow. Like to find this insight would have taken me hours before, and probably would have spent a full-time employee trying to figure out what should my roadmap be, what is the right account plan for this account, how do I draft a case study for this account. And in Pylon, you can effectively write a prompt that takes you a couple minutes and do that for all your accounts really quickly, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think the other cool key thing is all of those use cases that you just mentioned are very B2B use cases. And like, that's where account intelligence really shines, that like maybe an existing incumbent probably doesn't have anything built out specific for that B2B use case. So thanks for letting me grill you, Ryan. Ben, you're in the hot seat. Ben, I think you do have you mentioned it earlier, and you do have like a very nuanced view about this because you were a customer of Zendesk for a decade previously. So could you maybe describe how your journey went with I guess Zendesk, and how you kind of transitioned to realizing, oh, Pylon might be the actual tool that is kind of like the future to replace the existing system that you have?
So I'd love to claim that I'm the thought leader here, but I'm really not. I just wound up getting tied up with Pylon, so it makes me look like a thought leader internally. But it was really neat. Our journey started very conservatively. Like many companies, we started having more relationships pop up in Slack. And kind of like to Ryan's mention, you hit a scaling issue there where, we were able to handle it okay on our team, but it was staying on top of Slack was requiring manual, very interrupt driven. It was stealing a lot of focus just to spin around if you're on the queue, watching all the Slack channels, looking for notifications, double checking to make sure you didn't miss them. And that took a lot of effort. And so we looked to Zendesk first for some Slack integration. And this was a couple of years ago, but we'll just say that didn't go very well. We immediately ran and turned it back off, turned it off. And so that set us about looking for another solution. So we got introduced to Pylon, and I really didn't have the intention to go away from 10 years of Zendesk. We were really attached to it. There was a lot of habit and reporting and everything built up on it. The revelation was once we dipped our toe in the water and really got to doing that trial period, it became clearer and clearer that we were going to be able to make a lot of use out of that data that we weren't before. So we kind of had a cutoff. We decided that 2 years was a good time to, we actually imported 2 years of our tickets into Pylon, then used all the AI tool sets to train against that data. And really, we touch all of our responses right now, but the assistance that the knowledge management and AI tooling gives us is amazing. Like I mentioned that diversity of ticket that we have. Even when we get complex tickets in, the training we're able to get off of that historical ticket base was really helpful. And we kind of springboard into a new era of all those benefits are already mentioned, multi-channel support all in one place. To Ryan's point, pulling in more data into account management, being able to get really good insights on what's going on with a certain account as we're answering tickets. Around knowledge base articles is really huge for us, being able to tie all that data together, generate and manage knowledge base articles. It really multiplied the impact each one of my team members was able to have while we were greatly accelerating our Slack adoption. I think the number this morning was over 85% of our customers are in Slack, which is huge to me. And we're talking from brand new entrants to long established customers of ours. And the rate that we're able to get answers out, better answers, quicker answers, with still a human touch on every response. It's been pretty remarkable. So we've historically had very high CSAT scores. There were some concern, like how would this go when we made this transition? The rates have stayed, the CSAT scores have stayed really high, while we're able to do more and more. And we're actually able to get more focus time back on what I mentioned before, making quick turnaround bug fixes to the platform. The one that I'm most recently excited about is, of course, feature requests, which is really cool. You can tie in all kinds of data to that. So in essence, we started with a little bit of fear and trepidation about moving away from a platform we've been on for 10 years. And it was a revelation to see what we were missing out on that was available with Pylon. And I know we're still just scratching the surface. There's so much more opportunity for us to take advantage of. I feel like I have to catch up every month on what got released, because it's like Christmas every month. Like, whoa, what this is out. I think I knew features were out there, but when I saw that hit, it was like, oh, cool. And so it's definitely excitement on our team, being able to feel like we're empowered to do better and better with a tool that's helpful. I mean, in case anyone thinks that this is just some crazy sales pitch, like this is how we talk about Pylon internally. High praise from our CEO, who was a little bit, he didn't intervene. He was a little bit concerned about the migration. He gave a glowing review for how he felt about the smooth transition we were able to make to import all those tickets from Zendesk to get everything moved over pretty seamlessly. There was a very smooth cutover day, all thumbs up, and it was due to pretty straightforward process, good support from the Pylon team. So if there's anyone out there that has that kind of fear, let me allay that fear. There's a really solid process in place. It'll be fine. You'll be happy.
Cool. I think that's actually a really good topic, Ben, that you brought up, is like, what was that interaction actually with the higher ups, the CEO, like any of the founders? Like, how did that conversation actually go to justify using this random tool that you found that you kind of realize is like lightning captured in a bottle? Like, what did that conversation go like?
There were a number of conversations, just not too many of them were fear-based about, worries and concerns. There was, some trust that we would get it done. What really I recall is the surprise and delight when we put our executives in front of some of these features. I mean, we have product team members that went straight to Ask AI feature and just started asking it questions about our knowledge, like what customers have asked for this feature. And this was before feature request was a feature. For anyone who manages product data, there's a lot of work that goes into classifying information from your ticketing system out into something else. I won't name a product management name, but like a roadmap or product feature tool, you have to put in so much work to get that data useful. And it's just been really neat to see that, I think Ryan mentioned this, like the hub, you've got this hub with the data already there. And I know there's probably some cringe out there with every AI buzzword feature that's mentioned, but I would say soundly, I'm that grumpy, experienced IT technology veteran. The application of AI tool sets in Pylon is remarkably useful, and we use it every day. We depend on it now, and seeing people that aren't in the queue every day come to the tool, and now they want to be in it, that's pretty remarkable. So that's kind of the feedback that I'm remembering. The little concern that was there about, is this going to be smooth, way overweighed by the result, and then the features that are unlocked for those users on our team that are not in the queue every day. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. And I know we've been really focused on the product side. I was curious, what about like some of those more intangibles, like support, success, solutions, kind of services side of the a product, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the product; it's also about the company who's kind of helping you implement it. Like, I guess, could you speak a little bit to how that experience was, like before versus after?
Well, something that made it, I guess, easy to explore other alternatives. If we, even though we had been 10 years with Zendesk, like the relationship was kind of not there. We were kind of forgotten on a plan from, eons ago. And when when we asked questions about features, it was more like, okay, time to sign a big enterprise contract at about, 4x your current rate. So those were challenging interactions, a lot of friction there, or just neglect. The Obviously the experience with Pylon team has been outstanding. This is going to sound like I'm exaggerating, but it's not. I could bring up facts where we go ask about something and then it's a feature less than a month later. Quick turnaround. I mean, the support team at Pylon is outstanding. Like they set the model there.
Cool, yeah. And at least on the Pylon side, it's because Pylon uses Pylon, and we love dogfooding our own product and building for ourselves, and that's what makes it really, really fun. And yeah, very
In fact,
productive.
I think here's the one from recent memory. I asked a question, John answered, and was like, "Hey, I want to do this with our schedules." He said, "Hang on, in 2 days you'll have a feature that'll fix this." I'm like, okay, cool. And I
What
did,
was
and
the
2 days
schedules?
later it was there.
What was the
It was
feature?
overlapping schedules, yeah.
Yes, to do a 24/5
Mm-hmm.
schedule with different teams and different geographies, like US East, US West overlapping. Yep. So cool. Yeah. And Pylon can. One is we're meant to try and fit a lot of those really complex flows that you might see on a support team, especially as you grow. But also, like, yes, if we don't have it, we do build it very quickly. So cool. Nice. So I guess maybe to summarize, here are some of the points that we kind of brought up a little bit. It sounds like it's a lot of omni-channel support across Slack, and I guess Ryan, Ben, you guys don't necessarily have any Microsoft Teams customers yet, do you?
We
do asterisk.
Yeah.
We've had some requests, but when we need to integrate back with for those who know, it's not trivial to set up those multi-tenant trusts, and so it takes some work to do on the customer side to enable that, and we're pending on a few requests to do that.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. So, and Pylon will be there for you to help hook that up, of course. Trying to give people the opportunity to live where they want to live, but you manage it all out of the scalable platform. I think this also matches with like number 2 as well, and that like maybe a little bit less on like the external Slack channel, but a lot of the internal flows are like deeply embedded in Slack, so that you can have that off ramp into Slack for the rest of your team. I guess like do you guys have any instances where that's been super helpful of like Pylon's deep integration into the Slack like internal facing? I'm thinking like maybe the triage channel, perhaps something like that, or
Yeah. So I mean, one thing for sure is that if you have these set up right, you could actually reply to live chats from Slack, which was a key problem that our team actually had in the past. If you didn't want to be like in the Pylon UI, but a great example of a use case we have right now is we actually have a support engineer that's changing teams, and right now we have like a gap in coverage while we like ramp someone up, and so we recently created a specific triage channel that's alerting us of like every high value customer that's writing in during those hours in a specific Slack channel, so that anyone who's online is like, hey, I just need to go to this channel and look here and see if there's anything urgent to reply to while that person's offline. And we have a bunch of those channels set up on different triggers and different filters.
cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then 3, this one's more about like both of you had talked about that the AI native workflows that are kind of popping up. It sounds like there's a lot of like, for Ryan, you're more geared towards kind of like the full agentic solving question kind of flow, and trying to plug in as many sources of data into that and kind of answer questions, both on like a straight answering perspective, but also like a assisting the human perspective. Could you speak more to maybe like what your exactly building out there, and what kinds of questions are solvable that you couldn't solve before, maybe?
Yeah, so we deployed our first Pylon agent about a year ago, I guess it was now, which is crazy. I think it might have been this exact week a year ago. Um,
Nice.
and right, so like I like to tell my team like, hey, if an agent replies with a great answer, it's going to be better than a human because they reply immediately, they're available 24/7, and like it's like perfect. The answer's there. Obviously there's going to be cases where the agent doesn't know the answer, right? And I think what's cool about Pylon is you can customize how you want that experience to look when the agent doesn't know an answer. You could escalate to a human who's online. You could push the user to email. You could try and go search the web and find a different answer for them. Like you ultimately get to choose how you want that agent experience to be. And for us, the way we have it set up is like our agent tries to answer all emails and all live chats on the website end to end without any human intervention. If that agent doesn't find an answer, we'll escalate to a human who's online. And then what we do is we use Pylon to go back and actually look at all the issues that have come in over the past week or the past month and understand like what are the trends of the questions the agent couldn't answer. And those are the updates that we go and make into our documentation so that the agent is better trained to answer those questions the next time a user comes in. And so it's this very like virtuous like agent tries to answer. If it works, that's amazing. Everyone's happy. If it doesn't, escalate to a human. They'll solve the they'll solve the user's problem. But then we'll go like update the docs and like make that full cycle work more and more and more. And I think an interesting anecdote is like because of this, our support team actually like took over like fully all of our documentation at Assembly AI because they're just so deeply integrated with like what user questions are being asked that need to be in the docs to get the right answer to
Yeah.
the agent. That like they're the best suited to build great documentation and deflect those incoming tickets. And I think we're at something like 35% of all incoming tickets are now answered by an agent, which for us is effectively something like 3 full-time employees, which is like crazy results over a 12-month period.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. Yeah, especially when B2B companies, B2B questions, I'm sure your questions are much harder than like a traditional, like, how do I reset my password? Like these are probably like super deep, like kind of crazy questions. So
Yeah, and you could build workflows for those too, right? But you know, a lot of times like people are asking like questions with code and configuration and stuff like that, and like the agent can give some really great results if you have it trained on the right data sources and your docs are up to date.
yeah, makes sense. And then that fourth point around quick implementation with strong support from your vendor. This really speaks to that point that you were bringing up, Ben, around the support team at Pylon. Well, I guess I don't hear it from my mouth. Straight from Ben's mouth around like the support team is like a top-notch, stellar team, and probably a lot of that is.
Yeah, y'all were tuned in, and frankly, during our migration, I forget how long it took. Let's say, what was it, 4 weeks of planning?
Yep.
We weren't waiting on you. You're like, okay, you ready to do it next week? About the week after? I'm like, oh, we're still testing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're very happy to work with you. We've definitely done migrations that some last like a day or like literally like the 1 hour call. Some are, maybe like a couple months, but it's really a spectrum of like how cautious or careful kind of the customer wants to be. And yeah, Ben, I think you are one of the more like meticulous customers, I'd say, and wanting to get all of the different like corner cases like settled out. And I really appreciated that when doing the migration with you.
Yeah, Ryan, you've got a great question out here. I'll let you answer. I was just going to share a fun story that while we have a human on our team touch every ticket, we did have one of our humans get accused of being a bot because his answer was so good, I guess, and well written. It's like, well, that's a great answer, but I really like to talk to a human now. So that's our team joke.
Yeah. The funny thing is that happens a lot to the Pylon support folks. I think John has been accused of being a bot like 5-6 times now.
That's good. I'll tell my team member that he'll feel better.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean, just to kind of like summarize the evaluation piece, I guess like in your guys' opinion, what should be kind of like the 3 tiers of in terms of the 3 tiers of like things you should be looking for? What should be included in a non-negotiable when you're evaluating a system? What's kind of like a nice to have these days, and what's totally irrelevant? And I feel like it's changed in this era of AI and like specialized in B2B. So like wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
I'll go briefly, Ryan. I mean, the thing that stands out for me right now, since you mentioned AI, is that, I would just say buyer beware of those features. Make sure you've tested, make sure they're not just bolt-ons. I think Pylon's done a fundamentally really great job of making the AI tooling really useful, just demonstrably useful for so many workflows. And it's just baked in a way that just, I think that you get really good value out of Pylon for everything you get. I think if you went to buy that piecemeal, it'd be really expensive. It's my guess. But so, yeah, that's the key thing that stands out to me is everyone's got the AI features, but do they really? Do they work as well as you hope? And what do they cost?
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. Ryan?
If you want me to add here as well, when we did our evaluation a year and a half or so ago, I'd say like our sheet probably looks very different, honestly, than it does now, which is like how fast things are moving. But I think at the end of the day, right, I mentioned like put something into your team's hands and like let them get curious with it. I think if you have like, the people who are the top performers on your team and the people who are going to lead change, like put a tool like Pylon into their hands, let them actually give direct feedback, and they're going to give you like really very specific feedback on the workflow and the UI UX and how it improves their day or makes their day worse. And I think ultimately what you should be like, non-negotiable is something that's AI native and something that's extremely flexible in both the like workflows you can create, the SLAs you can set, and like the data model that exists. Because if you have that and you have smart people, they can go build everything else on top of it. And I think what's been really cool about our work with Pylon is a lot of our like nice to haves are actually the features that have been shipped over the past 12 months that we had to manually build and like set up ourselves because we were like pushing the boundaries of what the platform can do. And so I really think, if you have something that's flexible, it's AI native, and your team can build on top of it. A lot of the other things kind of become irrelevant at the end of the day.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I think really to parse that answer even more, it sounds like, yes, it's important to have those AI native kind of features and have your team play with it. But I think you also mentioned like you still need kind of like the core foundations of a support system, the workflows, the SLAs, the support hours for Ben, right? Like like complex overlapping round robin, skills-based routing, like all sorts of like complex flows. And I feel like for Pylon, it's not an either or. You can have both, and I think that's kind of like shining through in both of your guys's setups. It sounds like so cool. Nice. Now getting into like post evaluation, I know that there's a lot of questions and fear that goes into like how does the migration work? Is it smooth? Like migrations from one system to another, admittedly, are very scary for a lot of folks. I guess we've touched on this a little bit, but wanted to dig deep into what does that actually look like on the ground? Like what does that actually mean for the rest of the team, for you, for managing the stakeholders above you? Like maybe Ben, seems like I know that you put a lot of thought into this, but would love to hear kind of thoughts there.
I took a traditional view that there was no escaping a gap analysis. We really needed to just document the features in terms of frequency and priority and, must-haves, nice-to-haves, and everything between. So we did our best job at doing that. And I'm trying to think hard if we had any surprises. I see that Gab, my teammate, is on the call. And I'm trying to think if we had any that were big surprises. Most of the things that we knew were gaps or differences we were okay with or we had workarounds. So I think that's fundamental. You just really need to understand. I think Ryan had a good point too. You just need to put the users in front of it. Like know who your power users are and get them in there testing it. We were able to kind of move some of our smaller channels in with a phased migration. So every week we'd bring a new team in. We have our billing team, our security team. We brought them in one by one, and they found some things that were really just configuration issues that we need to sort out. So then we brought our main, higher volume channels in. It was a lot smoother. So do your homework, get your flows documented. find out what all the crazy triggers do, especially if you've got a 10-year-old Zendesk implementation like we did. I mean, half of ours were just spring cleaning, need to be cleaned up. And yeah, just phase in as if you can, if you have that ability, and you're off to the races. I mean, we can confidently say that at this point, Pylon's got it pretty locked down for support workflows. I think it's just a matter of making sure that you're configured as a new user in the right way.
Yep. And how about the data side? How was the transition of all of the tickets, the historical tickets? I think you briefly mentioned that you pulled 2 years, but I guess what was the thinking around that, and how was that transition?
Well, I've been alive and long enough in tech. I was a little bit scared about this one, and it went way smoother than I thought. You'll have to refresh my memory, Robert, because you were assisting us on this one. But I think we did a test migration, found a couple issues of a small sort, and then we were able to wipe and restart. But it was very straightforward. It was just kicking the tires, making sure the data flows in, mapping looks good, teams are set up. We had some mapping to work out, but it was really smooth. The tool and the support was fine, and the migrating 2 years of tickets was way faster than I thought it would be. I was pleasantly surprised at that. And yeah, here's the thing: we still have a Zendesk license active if we need to go look at old tickets, and I can't remember last time that any of us had to go look at it. So it worked out well.
Nice, cool. And then I think also all of those migrated tickets then could feed into AI as well, which is a huge plus for you guys, if I recall. And also, I'm forgetting if analytics was a big thing to keep smooth as well. But yeah, granted, it's been a while since since we did it. Sorry to forget, but yeah. So it sounds like there was a pretty smooth transition there. I think the one last thing that's interesting that you kind of briefly mentioned, there are other teams and emails that you had transitioned from Zendesk, right? Could you speak
That's
to
right.
the other personas that were kind of like living out of Zendesk and now live out of Pylon?
Yeah, I've got a friend that works on our finance team, and she was thrilled the first week that we cut them over. She's like, "This is awesome. Love this tool. Love to work in Slack." She works primarily out of Slack. To Ryan's point earlier, like, don't want to log into Pylon, don't care about the AI, just want to be able to respond to the billing issues and be on my way. And so yeah, we've got happy users, and then our security team, we've got a power user over there that's very well versed in Zendesk and had great feedback that helped us configure it. So back again to Ryan's point, like, get your power users in there to get that early feedback to help you have a smooth migration. Because you know how it is. You get in what you put out of it. I know right now that we're not using the breadth of what Pylon offers. Ryan is the true thought leader. Reach out to him on LinkedIn. But yeah, you get what you put into it, and so making sure that you're configured to make the best use of these amazing features is it's kind of up to you.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. And then on Ryan, for your side, I'm trying to remember what our migration looked like. Actually, it was like pretty early on. So wanted to hear more about your thoughts there, and also the other kinds of teams that are living on Pylon post migration.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say, did a phased migration. We started with Slack because at the time we didn't have any Zendesk features running on Slack, so we were effectively like flying blind, and so the risk of something going wrong is pretty low when you have nothing in place. It's probably only going to be upside from there. We went and did live chat next because live chat's pretty easy, right? You just change the snippet on your site, and now the new chat's live, and make sure that works. I think email is probably like the most tricky one, right? With setting up your rules and your routing and all of that. But I think you have to like build momentum and build iteratively through these different phases that you go and assign out to your team, right? And I think there's even a question around like people being scared about change in process and workflows, et cetera. I think if you can, show your end users like, hey, here's what we've done. Here's the benefit to you. Here's all the time you've saved, or the additional value you have, or the less manual work you have to do. I think people are really receptive to that at the end of the day. And so going in phases, picking what's low risk and like building that momentum and showing people like what actually is in Pylon and why it's better than whatever they use today. I think is like the right way to bring people on board. And um, ultimately that's how we've brought other teams on board as well. Our customer success managers use Pylon every day. They live in Pylon. They're getting alerts from all sorts of other systems that are all centralized in Pylon to go and read and react to. And yeah, I think there's always going to be some challenges with history, and if you have your knowledge base in Zendesk, etc. My advice would just be like, we're all talking B2B here, so I assume to some degree, right, you probably have some technical experts on your team. Have them work on this. Like, you could literally vibe code something that would move your data from Zendesk to Pylon in less than a day. Like, I could bet my life on that. And so if you have technical folks who enjoy those types of projects, like, align them with the work. They're going to be super excited and passionate about it. And you can really build really cool stuff because, like I said, Pylon's flexible. If you just want to get data in from all these different systems, you have that flexibility, and people who can build can go build stuff. And a lot of the stuff we've ended up building is just like the result of someone creative who had a problem building something on top of Pylon. And that goes for the migration process as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how you both kind of approached the migration from two different angles. Ben, it was very much like a team by team kind of setup where you kind of started with some like the security and billing team and then ramped it up to the support team. Whereas on Ryan, your side, very much like a source by source kind of thing, where you started with Slack, then chat, then email. And I think like that phase setup really de-risks the entire process as you kind of like move along. Yeah, and no wonder I don't remember this, Ryan. I think we actually hadn't implemented our migration tooling before you migrated. So I think you were before migration tooling, then you were after migration tooling. So
Exactly.
you no longer need the technical person to migrate over the tickets and the knowledge base articles anymore. So the world's getting easier and easier to do these things, thankfully. So
I bet you might have vibe coded that internally.
yeah. And I haven't coded in over a year now, but I do happen to vibe code things sometimes. So cool. Great. I think we can. So I think we've hit upon this one, so we probably could like keep this pretty brief. But like now looking into the future after you're on Pylon, I guess like wanted to maybe dig a little deeper into that support engine kind of virtuous cycle that you were kind of referring to, Ryan. And I think, Ben, you also made a mention of like generating those knowledge base articles, but really want to emphasize that point here that like there's a lot of reasons why you would buy Pylon or move off of a Zendesk, but like you end up finding that there's like a whole like huge depth to a lot of the AI features, it sounds like. Wondering if you guys have any thoughts here. I know that we've already talked a lot about this for a bit. And so.
Now, Ryan, you've got to close this one because you have more interesting stuff to say about this, but we don't have agents answering tickets at the moment. We currently have the opinion that our users want us to touch them and make sure that the answers are that we can get that answer to them the first time.
Yep.
That may change over time, but there's a lot of help that goes into that. So we feed up a lot of capability to each of our team members to be able to use those AI tools to help get the right context for that answer, maybe even a draft as well. And then, we talked a little about feature requests. That's extremely useful because sometimes it's hard to understand how much revenue is tied to this request, who's asking for it, did I miss some data? Just that information management, knowledge base, article creation and maintenance. I've definitely been in a couple times where I've tried to create a new knowledge base article. It's like, there's already one like this. Go look at it. So it's just so helpful in the human work that we are doing. And then Gab, our head of customer success, she's in there a lot now too because of all the amazing features that have been in there, on that end of things. And she's doing a lot of the, I know web research is out there. So she's done some really neat things to pull in web research about our customers so that we're aware when things happen in the public realm just to give us better context to help them and support them and be proactive. And yeah, it's pretty simple stuff, but amazing how it all fits together without us having to do a lot of manual repetitive effort. That's the win for me, is that while we're still in there touching stuff right now, we have so much more benefit on the back end from the AI tools.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing too between both of your approaches here. Ryan, very much that like kind of automate the support tickets away, but Ben, Pylon has also enabled you to kind of be enable the human in the loop flows where it's not about just straight answering. It's maybe about making that human more efficient, effective, productive, etc. So.
I mean, you honestly want to do both. Even if our agent doesn't answer the ticket, we want the human to be as fast as possible and as efficient as possible. And so, whichever way you want to go about it, you're going to end up using AI for both of those. And I think for like a support person, if you have an agent deflecting like those tickets that are repetitive and not that exciting anyways, it's much more fulfilling to take that time and like go work on more impactful work. And so that's a really cool way to look at it. And the other part is, Pylon almost like makes the data that you get from support way more actionable and transparent. And so instead of having to like generate what are the most requested features and what's going on with this account and for this feature, what types of bugs have been reported in the last month, et cetera, like all these are probably questions for maybe people on the call thinking like that'll be hours for each of those questions. I mean, in Pylon, it's actually seconds. Like if it took you more than a minute, you're probably not looking at it the right way. And so the role of support becomes very much just like working with customers and unblocking them and like reporting back all of those rich insights to the rest of your company for them to go build the next best product or change the way that your customer experience is run based on support. And I think that's really cool.
Yep. Let AI do what AI is good at. Let humans do what humans are good at. Yep, exactly. So I think the other really cool meta here is like when both of you guys were doing the migration and when anybody does a migration with Pylon is we've seen like thousands of these setups. So we have a pretty good pulse on like what is proper, I guess, like what's the standard like best practices out there. And I think like that's kind of like there's like hidden value add where it's not just about the tool that you're getting, but also a lot of the expertise of like, hey, like while we're doing this migration, maybe those existing flows that you have or AI concepts that you have, maybe those aren't the best way to do it. Let's try and figure out what the right system is. And so migrations are also a really good opportunity to just like revisit all your flows and kind of update everything. So cool, nice. Now is everybody's favorite part, Q&A. So I know that, thank you, Ryan and Ben, for hopping into some of these Q&A questions. We might be able to like go through them real quick. I know that a lot of these are getting answered in the chat. So let me see if I can find some that haven't been answered yet. Let's go from the bottom. Okay. So did you create or recreate your incident management workflows? Does it function better or the same? Do you guys, I'm forgetting if you guys have recreated your incident flows. Do you,
talking about like escalations to pager
escalations to PagerDuty or like outages in general?
Yeah, we've improved ours, I think, quite a bit. I know sometimes Gab hops in or working an incident and she'll do, the broadcast, which are a little bit more proactive than just having people watch a status page. And then we've added some intelligence around when to escalate to PagerDuty, not just maybe one static rule, but we've added some AI-based escalations where if someone says something, that a tag will be made and someone will get escalated to. So I would say using some features that were not available to us before. Yeah, moving that dial a little bit forward up. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, and I guess neither of you guys use Incident IO probably, but yeah, we do have direct Incident IO integrations to a lot of the reporting tools. PagerDuty, as Ben was saying, we have Ops Genie as well. And I think the other cool thing is we also have the concept of broadcasts. So you can blast out to all of your customers, hey, we're having an outage, like we're on top of this. So the comms part of it is also kind of rolled up as well. I don't know if you guys have, last time you guys used broadcasts. Maybe Ryan, have you used broadcasts before? I'm not actually sure.
We use broadcasts a ton, but more from a marketing perspective. A lot of our customers enjoy reading Slack. They hate reading emails, and so we send it's about biweekly updates of just like, hey, what's launched? Why is it important to them? What might be interesting? I mean, if there's a major incident, I could see us maybe using that for that. But typically our incidents aren't long enough to have to do that.
Yeah. And to build off of that, Jason, I just saw your next question come in. Yes, survey capabilities is also baked into that. NPS surveys, CSAT surveys. What are they called? The CES surveys. That's what it was. Yeah, CES surveys, and you can customize those and everything. So cool. Next question. Roughly how many customers have we helped move from Zendesk to Pylon? It's in the hundreds at this point. We also do a lot of migrations from a lot of the long tail systems, Intercom, Salesforce Service Cloud. There are like, I don't know, 50 different systems out there. We can migrate tickets from all of them at this point and have done at least one in like the long tail. So that's been pretty cool. What new integrations is Pylon working on? Yep. So for that, mentioned them briefly at the beginning, and actually, I don't know, Ben. I guess assembly is probably valid for the voice one, but we're building out phone right now to do callback and outbound or inbound and outbound flows. We're also building out texting. So a lot of people who text with their customers if they're like outside of tech, that's a very common case. Building out WhatsApp at the moment as well. So that kind of serves a lot of those folks who are out in the rest of the world, like Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America. So those are the sources. In terms of the other integrations, we have a lot of call recorder integrations that we've built out already. We already have like Gong, Fathom, Fireflies, Grain that you can pull in. We're constantly building out more as we speak. Pretty much just like go look at our integrations page, and if there's any specific ones that you have, Raj Shakar, I'm happy to comment on it. So, cool. Okay, next one. Are we able to configure Pylon to do an automatic first reply to a customer, which could actually help them? This is one of our most important SLAs. I feel like, Ryan, this is probably relevant to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, effectively, that's what our AI agent does. And you can decide based on the category of ticket, the topic of the ticket, et cetera, exactly how you want that agent to reply. And so imagine if you have it set up to handle billing tickets, different from product tickets, different from incident tickets. You can go and customize that. And so the short answer is like, absolutely yes. And you can do more than a first reply if you want to. You can have it handle the ticket end to end. It's really up to you how you want to configure that.
Cool, nice. I know we're coming up on time, but want to try and bang out as many of these as possible. Thank you, Ryan. Cool. Jason, next question. Can our current Zendesk ticket history and guide KB database be imported and referenced when working on tickets? Yes, very doable. We have that migration option available with all the tooling. So, and we have a whole flow to migrate in the historical as well as the open and ongoing email tickets. Which I believe there was another question on that at some point. Yeah, I think you also asked like one of the most painful parts of our transition was the massive wave of emails from imported tickets that damaged our email reputation. Is the migration process with Pylon smooth? Yes, we have seen that, or we have a way to handle that case. And we've built a huge process to make sure that you don't accidentally like blast every old open ticket, because yes, that would hurt your email reputation. And so I can walk through like very more deeply with you, Jason, after the call. But like yes, we do have a whole flow where we import in all the tickets, and there's a differentiation between the historical and the live ones. So, cool. I think we're just at time. I know we tried to answer all of these. Let's see. Okay, let's look for the upvoted ones. 343. Okay. Yeah, Ryan and Ben, I hope you're okay with staying on just a little bit longer. So did your end users have any trouble adapting to the change in workflow? We have some ancillary Zendesk users like CSMs who are stubborn about any change in process. I think Ryan, maybe this is one for you because of the CSMs that are using Pylon as well.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this during the migration, but of course, lots of people don't want to change. Let's just be real with ourselves. And so you have to find the people who do want change and have them kind of lead the way and have them show the rest of the team, like, hey, here's how moving to Pylon from Zendesk made my day 10x easier, 10x more efficient, 10x simpler. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this, but ultimately, right, people will change if they see that there's a benefit to them and a very clear value to that switch. And I think the cool thing is in the case of Pylon versus Zendesk, if you put the two side by side and you actually use them in your day to day, you'll see that pretty clearly, and it makes it a little bit easier for people to switch rather than feeling like you're switching UIs but not getting any benefit out of it. In which case, I would say, yeah, I'd also be frustrated as an end user, but that's not what you're going to experience. So,
thank you. Yeah. And then Randy's question, again, about migrating from the knowledge base. Seems like there's a lot of questions there. So just to dig a little deeper, we do migrate over the entire article content, the title, we have all the sharing capabilities as well. It's very smooth. If you just want to do a knowledge base migration, that usually is the migration that takes 15 to 30 minutes. And so it's pretty instant. The true cutover there and complexity is you have to talk to an IT person to cut over the subdomain, but that's pretty much it. So, cool. And then last one, how did you move your data over from Zendesk to Pylon? Is there a utility? Yep. So we answered that. We do have a utility. There is an extra charge associated with it, but it's purely to just cover the cost of doing the migration because there's a lot of data funneling that happens. We're not trying to charge you an arm and a leg, if that makes sense, Randy. So. Cool. I think we're at time. I know there's a couple other questions, but I want to be respectful of Ben and Ryan's time. Thank you so much, guys, for hopping on a quick webinar. It's fun to always have a conversation like this, and I'm glad we could chat. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for also joining. And I want to also thank Cassie on the Pylon team for helping set this up. She was an amazing, she's been an amazing person on the team who joined fairly recently, too. So, yeah, and thanks for coming, everybody. So, cool. All right.